It says here, there has never been one like it, a time of trouble for Yaakov, but out of it he will be saved. On that day I will break his yoke from off your neck. The difference between pre-Israel and post-Israel is very simple. Before Israel, the Jew was condemned for the wandering Jew. No right to follow what he needed to follow. Now the Jew can have a voice. Why? Because if anything bad happens, he has a country he can go to, where he has the right to be Jewish. This is very important. Before that, if people didn't like him, there was nowhere to go. All he could do was go to another place where people like him for a while, and afterward they won't like him. And go to another place. You know, and we always the possibility of persecution, always. But since there is Israel, he can say, no more that yoke, off. The yoke of oppression is finished. I have a voice. Whenever I want to, I have the right. I remember in 1975, I used to, 75, 73, 74, I used to do protests in the streets of Paris, protesting in front of the embassy of the USSR in Paris for the rights of Jews of USSR to emigrate to Israel, because they wouldn't let them. And we protested so well that in the end the USSR said yes. You know, so foreigners will no longer enslave him. Jeremiah 30 verse 9. Instead, they will serve Adonai their God and David their king, whom I will raise up for them. Adonai their God, David. Now when you say David in biblical text and Talmudic text, it refers to Messiah. David is dead by the time of Jeremiah. David has died 600 years or something. So it's talking about Messiah. Now, the Israel coming in, if you look at the history of Israel, in 67, the resurrection of the state of Israel led to the Jewish people taking again Jerusalem, the West Bank. And if you study the history of Messianic Judaism, it is at that time when Jerusalem was recaptured that there was, I hate the word revival, there was an acknowledgement by many Jewish people of Messiah. That event in 67, at the end of the 6-day war, created an enlightenment, a messianic enlightenment within traditional Judaism. We can trace it to that time. You know, every testimony, all the testimony here, Marty Getz and all these people, you can all trace it. I think even Jonathan Burness, you can all trace it to, I listened to these testimonies of these big rabbis, Messianic rabbis who are famous, or singers, all have the same testimonies. They got to know Messiah in the 70s, right after 67. They were hippies. And, you know, it's like, I feel like I'm in a good crowd. Okay, so 30 verse 10, Jeremiah 30 verse 10. So don't be afraid, Yaakov my servant, says Adonai, or be alarmed, Israel, for I will return you from far away and your offspring from their country of exile. Yaakov will again be quiet at rest, and no one will make him afraid. This is Jeremiah chapter 1. This is a chapter that is read at Rosh Hashanah. Okay? Now we're going to skip, because there's a lot of consolations and it's a good reading during Rosh Hashanah, but we're going to skip and go down to chapter 11. Chapter 31, chapter 31. Okay? It's going to give us some more details. Let's see, is there something actually in chapter 30 that is Let's read chapter 30 very quickly. 11, here you go. 30:11. For I'm with you to save you, say Adonai. I will finish off all the nations where I have scattered you. However, you I will not finish off. Oh boy, oh boy. But will discipline only as you deserve. I will not completely destroy you. So those people who are looking for the final solution, get rid of the Jews, it says, I will not destroy you. For here's what Adonai says, your wound is past healing, your injury more severe. No one thinks your wound can be bandaged. You have no medicines that can heal you. All your friends have forgotten you. They no longer seek you out. I have struck you down as an enemy would, punished as a cruel man would, because of your great wickedness, because of your many sins. Why cry that your wound and pain is past healing? I have done these things to you because of your great wickedness, because of your many sins. It's very similar to the parasha this week. The nations will ask you, why have you been scattered? Oh, because of our sin, Adonai scattered us. It's like Deuteronomy 30 a lot. Verse 16, but all who devour you, oh boy, some people need to be careful here. 30 verse 16, all who devour you will be devoured. Oh boy. All your enemies will go into exile. Those who plunder you will be plundered. Those who pillage you will be pillaged. Remember Egypt. For I will restore your health, I will heal you of your wounds. What a promise, says Adonai, because they called you an outcast, Sion, with no one who cares about her. Thus says Adonai, I will return Yaakov captives to their tents. Yaakov's captives to their tents. I will take pity on his dwellings. Cities will be rebuilt on their own tel. A tel is Tel Aviv. A tel is a mound where there was city after city after cities that's been built, and it made kind of a hill. It's not a natural hill. It was because city after city has been built. So we have Tel Aviv. Cities will be rebuilt on their own tels with palaces where they're supposed to be. From them will come thanksgiving and the sound of people celebrating. I will increase them, they will not be decreased. I will honor them, they will not be despised. Can you imagine? That was written 600 BC. 2,600 years ago this was written. Can you imagine that? This is incredible. Their children will be as they used to be, their community confirmed in my presence, and I will punish everyone who oppresses them. Oh boy. Their leader will be one of their own, their ruler will come from among them. I will cause him to come close and let him approach me, for otherwise who would guarantee his heart enough to approach me, says Adonai. You will be my people, I will be your God. Look, the storm of Adonai bursting out in fury, a sweeping storm, whirling down upon the head of the wicked. Can you imagine? This hope has kept the Jewish people alive and kicking for 2,000 years. Okay, now 31 verse 1. When that time comes, says Adonai, the time of the ingathering, I will be God of all the clans of Israel. I will be God of all the clans of Israel. I don't know if any of you has gone to Israel. When you go to Israel, it's actually known as a secular country. Tel Aviv is called the city of sin. But the thing is that we've got to compare the return from the exile to Egypt. When Israel was given the passage, when Adonai gave Israel the passage out of Egypt, when Jacob came in Egypt, He had taught his children the Torah that he knew. They were religious. But after their time in Egypt, the Jewish people were idolaters. The Jewish people had lost contact. Who is Adonai? This is why Moshe, for them, he came out of the blue. So they were an idolater people. All they knew was about Egypt. Some of them probably knew a bit more, but really as a nation as a whole, even the Talmud says they were really idolaters. They were given this salvation for free, as they were yet sinners. They were given passage out of Egypt and promised to go to a land as they were yet sinners. Then they received the Torah on the way. The first thing they did at Mount Horeb is build a golden calf. Because that's what they were used to. So the same thing here. He returns them, but there's still a little bit need to go to Mount Horeb. We're on the way to Mount Horeb, let's say. Okay, so it says, the people, here's what Adonai says, the people escaping the sword found favor in the desert. The people escaping the sword. It's kind of a remnant. The people who have not died, the people who, there is a remnant that remain. Hitler didn't destroy everybody, or the persecution, the Catholics haven't destroyed everybody. There is a remnant today. Even assimilation does not destroy everybody. It's a little bit like Pharaoh did not destroy everybody. The people escaping the sword found favor in the desert. They found favor in the desert. He gave them manna. In the desert he gave them water. In the desert he gave them the Sabbath. In the desert he gave them promises. I have brought Israel to its rest. And he showed that it was possible to do it. Even through a desert he could bring the nation back. From a distance, Adonai